Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everybody can hear me. So we will wait just for a minute, another minute, because I can still see the parents are joining, and we will start in a minute. Okay, I think we can start now. So good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. And today's webinar is focusing on how to choose the right secondary school for your child. The reason we are having this webinar today because on our Zoom chat and also on the WhatsApp chat and our live chat, we do get this is frequently asked question, and hence me and my expert team decided to run this webinar. I will just walk you through quickly who are our speakers. So my name is Preeti. I'm the founder of two companies. First company, which is Spy Academy. We are mainly providing 11 plus, 13 plus GCSE, A levels, exam resources plus tutoring under Pi Academy. We have more than 20,000 students, more than 300 schools which are registered with Pi Academy. With a full motivation and the very good feedback from our parents, I started my another company, which is SchoolUniGuide, and here we are. So basically, SchoolUniGuide is a listing platform. This is powered with a very smart technology, powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning, where we have listed more than 27,000 schools, more than 400 universities, and 33,000 courses all across all the universities. The beauty of our platform is to provide the search, compare, and recommendation features, and providing the extraordinary help to our parents as well as to the teachers and for the students. Uh, Now, in today's webinar, we have Louis. She is English tutor, and she worked with me since more than 7 to 8 years in Pi Academy, and as well as she is a author and writer of many of the exam papers as well as many of the blog articles. Her expertise is to coach the students for entrance examinations for 11 plus, 13 plus, and she is having all the expertise which are required to secure the top independent grammar or the state school. And we have a guest speaker. I would like to welcome Katie. She's having more than 30 plus years of experience. She is an education consultant. She will introduce herself when she will take over the today's webinar. So here we are. We will be starting our webinar now. So what are the key objectives of the today's webinar? And here we are, understanding all about the secondary schools, top 10 key criteria for choosing a school, school admission policies and priorities, how to find the best school near you. And as I said, this is a frequently asked question. Application process and key dates, common mistakes made by parents, and most importantly, 11 plus exam preparation tips. So I will pass on now to Luis. Luis, you can give a short introduction about yourself. I have already introduced you, but it's better if you walk through your profile and you can continue. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Preeti, and good afternoon, everybody. So yes, as Preeti said, my name is Lois, and I've been with Pi Academy for a long time, helping lots of students of different ages prepare for their exams. So whether that be 11 plus, 13 plus, then also later into GCSE. So I primarily work with English, so creative writing, comprehension, grammar, all the things that you need to know. So this area of preparation is very familiar to me at this point. So I'm going to be talking through for the next few slides, talking a little bit about secondary schools in general, just some of the key things to know, so that you are well prepared for this next step. So, to begin with, what is a secondary school? Was obviously the stage between age 11 and 16, so a very important formative time of a child's life, in which they're going to be preparing for their GCSEs, which most students will sit in year 11, and then their A levels in year 12 and 13, or other vocational paths that they may choose to take beyond their GCSEs. So apprenticeships and other training courses, of course, are available too. But it can feel like a daunting milestone because it does feel like you're setting them on the road to life, and you want to make sure that the school that they go to is going to prepare them as effectively as possible for them as a student. So if we just go to the next slide, we'll talk about the different kind of schools that are available. So the two main sort of categories, I suppose, that you could talk about for schools in general, for secondary schools, you've got your selective schools and you've got your non-selective schools. Now, most of the students that I would have worked with are typically going for a selective school. So this is the kind of school where there is an 11 plus exam that you need to sit in order to get in. So they do have slightly higher sort of criteria for admissions. You'll have to do exams in typically English, maths, and verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning often come up as well. You may also need to do interviews. You may also need to attend group days. There's more that goes into actually getting a place in these schools because they're more competitive. So for some examples of these, grammar schools, for instance, are typically selective. You also have certain independent schools have a selective process, and some faith schools do as well. Now, obviously, the pros of that means that there are really high academic standards in a selective school because the children have been selected based on their ability. So this can mean that there's a really focused learning environment. But of course, that does mean at the same time that it is more competitive, and the process may be slightly more stress-inducing both for the parent and for the student. So it's worth bearing that in mind. Now, non-selective schools, as the term suggests, they don't have the same level of testing. So there's more open admission process for entering the school. And it tends to be based on catchment area, which is like where you live. So quite different to getting a place in a non-selective school. So typically academies and comprehensive schools fit into this category. Now, the pros of the fact that it's non-selective mean that it's more inclusive because students of all different abilities are able to get a place. So that does mean that you're going to be studying with probably a wider variety of different abilities. But the cons are that this does mean that the academic standards may vary, and also location might make things a little bit difficult depending on if you want that school, but you might not live close enough. So there are a couple of cons to bear in mind as well too. But we're talking primarily because of the sort of 11 plus process that is really for these selective schools, out of which there's sort of two main categories again. So you've got grammar schools and independent schools. So maybe that there are people in this webinar who are going for one or the other, or maybe for both. So we'll just quickly talk about the differences. So grammar schools are state funded, so they are free. So bear that in mind, there's no fees for parents to pay. There is an admissions process. It's the 11 plus standard 11 plus entrance exams, which may vary depending on board, but are typically pretty straightforward across the board. They don't offer scholarships or bursaries, of course, because there's no fees. They tend to be pretty traditional in the academic focus, and they do have a good range of extracurricular activities. Pretty standard, there'll be sports and other sort of hobby-based activities, but it's pretty traditional in a grammar school because, there's less, it's state funded. The opposite option would be an independent school. These are fee paying, which means that there is a slightly different admissions process because the scholarship's available. And so if you're going for a scholarship, there's going to be a little bit more of a competitive process. You're probably going to have to do more interviews. There's more sort of stages of the process. You'll do one stage, and if you pass that, then you go to the second stage, then you'll be interviewed. So it's a little bit more extensive, the process. There will also, just for anybody, even those who are paying fees, you'll still have to pass an exam to get a place. The curriculum for a independent school may be more flexible, more broad because they're not state funded. So they will have all the traditional things there, but there's a little bit more flexibility. And there will be a slightly larger variety of extracurricular activities available as well. So they do offer students a really, really diverse and exciting education. So I hope that I've covered that sufficiently, the different kind of schools that are available. I hope that gives you an idea of which one might suit your particular lifestyle or your particular aims. So I'm going to, at this point, hand back to Preeti to continue from here.
Thank you so much, Lewis. And yes, thanks. I will now move on to the next part of the presentation. So here we are going through top 10 criteria for school selection. So the first thing first, your residence location, where your house is located. I would suggest to look for the schools which are nearby to your house, or perhaps maybe having the good transport lines. The second criteria is GCSE A-level results. You need to look into the Ofsted and ISI reports. What are the school admission policies? What is the school catchment area? You can look back. What are the places offered? What are the postcode covered in the earlier years? We will go in detail with this. I will walk you through our website where we have captured all this information. The most important thing is also which parents need to take into account, which is teacher-student ratios, pastoral care, extracurricular facilities, school ethos and values, fees and scholarships. So especially fees and scholarship comes in picture when it is an independent school. Um, Moving on, so we will go through all these school selection process. I will walk you through our website, which will help you to get a lot of information about any particular school which you are looking for. So as you can see on the website, you can see on the top menu, we do have schools, we do have online schools, we have universities, courses, many consultants which are already listed on our website. We do list a lot of events. Those includes everything pretty much, including our SchoolUniGuide events, plus the school open days and many academic events. Tools, we have listed a lot of school tools which are very helpful for any teachers or the parents. And the most importantly, exam preparation providing companies. So as I said earlier in the introduction, in nutshell, SchoolUniGuide is a listing platform. We are making use of artificial intelligence, AI, to find out the best suitable school for you. Now, when it comes to identifying the schools or selecting a proper school for your child, you can click on the schools and then you can navigate whichever school you wish to look for. For example, preschool, primary school, secondary, grammar, independent, state, the entire list is here. So let's begin with the grammar school. Uh, Once you click on the grammar school, you will land on our page, and this page is nothing but a school finder. This is an amazing tool. You can search your school as per the name of the school. I will type one name for you, which is, say, for example, Tiffin Girls School. Uh, so here we go. So the Tiffin Girls School come on the canvas. You can click on this school and you will find the entire information about this school. The another way to find out the school as per the local authority, I will just show you that option as well. So here you can type, for example, Kingston upon Thames, any local authority which you wish, where you want, where you are staying or where your home is. Here you can see two schools, Tiffin Girls and Tiffin School. Now let's get the entire information of whatever school which you wish to apply. I will open here as an example the Tiffin Girls School. We already went through the entire PowerPoint slides where I jot down all the top 10 selection criterias. Exactly the same help we are providing to all parents to read in depth about any schools before they come to their final decision. And what it includes is the most important things which we are capturing on our web page is a very detailed information, admission process, admission criteria, catchment area. This is really important, and I will go in more detail about this particular element. Then also the GCSE and A level result of state. All these parameters I have already covered in my PowerPoint slide earlier. Now let's go in more detail about the catchment area. So when you click on this tab of catchment area, you will get the entire information which is very, very important for any school catchment area. Here you can see, because I have opened the Tiffin Girls School, that's why you can see here entire information which is required for catchment area, which we have brought it together for understanding of the parents. If you click on the Tiffin Girls School, it also opens a very, very dedicated page for the catchment area. And you can see here, we have also keeping in mind that parents might need the information about the catchment area on its own, or perhaps maybe the oversubscription. So you need to understand before you make or before you narrow down the names of the school, it is really important for you to understand what is the oversubscription criteria for the schools, how much is the competition, etc., etc. And you can find out all that on our webpage. The next important point is the cohort size. So here we have kept all the information handy for the parents to read through. And many parents, they ask question that we want to select this particular school. Do you know about what is a crime rate within that area? So we have kept even this crime rate information extremely handy on every of our catchment area pages. So this is pretty much about all what you can see it when you land on our catchment area page. Other important thing, I will also show you what are the nearby schools, because parents are also interested in finding out the nearby schools. So for sake of browsing or for sake of navigation, easy navigation, I kept all this information very handy on our website. I would definitely ask all of our parents to go through this entire information, because these parameters or these pointers play a very vital role when you are selecting a right secondary school for your child. So this is all about the catchment area. I will show you how you can calculate the distance of your required school from your home. So we have a proper map experience which we have curated for our parents, and this will help you to identify or to narrow down the number of schools which you wish to apply. So for example, let's take the same example of Tiffin Girls School. So here I will open the Tiffin Girls School. And you can enter your postcode as well. And this tool will calculate the straight line distance. It is very important when you are choosing any particular school, or if you have, say, for example, 2 to 3 schools in mind where you want your child to go and attend that school. It makes sense to uh, see the connectivity or see the transport lines available to make your child's journey more safe and more easily approachable. So here you can see on our map that we kept many filters by which you can see all the nearby amenities as well. So say, for example, you wanted to have a look only at the grammar schools. or only at if you want to only have a look at the independent schools, we are giving the lot of filters here by which you can select whatever school you wish to have it in mind, or I can call it as type of the school: grammar school, independent schools, state schools, boarding schools, and SEND schools as well. The second selection or second filter which you can apply is a gender type, Ofsted rating, nearby amenities. This is really amazing to give this entire experience to the parents, because that will help them to choose the right school. And when we think about nearby amenities, we have also kept in mind that any family might have couple of childrens in the family, and they might be doing a lot of other activities. The parents are picking and dropping the children from the tuition centers, or they are picking and dropping the children from the childminders. So we kept all those thinking in mind, which you can experience it on our map. And finally, the transport lines. So you can find out what is the nearest train station, tube station, or whatever other transport lines you are interested in on our map experience. Now, the beauty of this tool is that I will show you in a minute how the catchment area guide works. So, Urvashi, can you open our catchment area blog on our blog page? Yeah. So on our blog pages, we have kept a lot of information, because we are now handling a topic of how to select the best secondary school. This is really important parameter where you need to think about what is the catchment area before you apply for the school. And here is a complete guide where we are detailing out what is a catchment area, how is the school catchment area are calculated, and as I showed you through our map, the straight line distance calculator is really important in order to measure the distance or the catchment area distance from your home to the school. Then the second important thing is walking distance. There is also a nearest school criteria and the priority admission area. We will be sending you the link of this blog article. You can take your time to explore through this blog article, and which will help you out to understand how the catchment area plays a vital role in choosing the best secondary school. We have also have a guide on this particular section, how to choose the best independent school. We are working on the similar guide, how to choose the best grammar school for your child. And this is our guide where we have jotted down each and every important step, which is very essential for any parent to make an informed decision about what could be the best secondary school for their child. So this is pretty much all about all the 10 selection criterias which I have walked you through. Moving on to the admission policy now, which is again very, very important. Yeah. So every school, whether it is a grammar school or independent school, on school website, you will find the admission policies. So when you are choosing any particular school, or when you have two or three schools in mind, it's really important for all the parents to go through detailed admission policy and priorities which are mentioned within that document. The most important thing here is looked after children, sibling policy, school catchment area. I think I have talked a lot about already the school catchment area. You have all the relevant blog articles which are essential to understand for any parent on our website. You can have a look. We already talk about the oversubscription rules. This is very, very important when you are choosing the best grammar school for your child. Please look onto the oversubscription criteria, how much is the competition, etc. And then pupil premium funding, what are the feeder school, religion or faith, and academic entrance exam. So these are the very important points which any parent need to take into account when they are choosing the right secondary school. Moving on. So many parents, they are not aware about the application process. And before you say, for example, if your child is in year 4 and you are looking the best secondary school for your child, I would suggest you to start this entire research or journey at least 1 to 2 years prior to the entry actual entrance exam for the academic year. So what are the important months for any parents to make sure that they are registering or applying to the via the application process of the school. So here we go. In the month of March to November, school open days, and the school open days is something that every parent must go and attend. Then secondly, the second pointer is from May to July, application forms and scholarship applications. So mostly the application forms, they get released in the month of May to July at some point. It again depends upon whether it is a grammar school or whether it is an independent school. If it is an independent school, then yes, you need to sometimes apply for the scholarships as well. Most of the schools, they consider every student under the scholarship, but that is something that you need to check it on the school official website. From September to Jan, then it's a time for the entrance examination. If the child is taking the entry into the grammar school, then 11 plus exam comes in picture. From Jan to Feb, uh, usually from December to Jan, I would say that it's an interview time for all the independent schools. So right now, the interviews may start based on if your child has been selected for through the entrance examination. So most of the time, the schools interview the candidates when they are passing the first stage of the entrance exam. From Feb to March, offers are made and acceptance deadlines are set. March onwards, offers made to the waiting list candidate. April to July, if you want to appeal, you can appeal, and the actual school starts in the September. So this is pretty much the timeline which you can make sure that you are falling within this time frame and inquiring to the schools or sending the applications or registering your child for the entrance examination. So moving on. So through my around more than 15 to 20 years of experience, these are the common mistakes which every parent should avoid. So the first mistake, focusing only on academic result. Second, which is ignoring the child interest and personality, ignoring admission policies, and underestimating the competition for the selective school. This is something, I have seen many parents, they think that there is not much competition and they take the entrance examination or 11 plus exam or 13 plus exam journey little lightly. Moving on. So missing application deadline, most of the parents, they are not aware about when to apply, how to apply, and they miss the deadline. Failing to attend the open days. This is really important thing that many parents must consider attending the open days. And if the school permits, you take your child to attend that open day because children, they have their own interest and they feel whether that particular school is suitable for them or not. Ignoring extracurricular activities. So I would strongly recommend, do not ignore the extracurricular activities which the schools are offering, and compromising quality for convenience. So these are the important things which I would like to highlight. Do not make these mistakes. Moving on. So here I will pass on to our guest speaker, Katie. So Katie, on to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can you see me? No, you'll be able to see me very soon. And hello to everybody. And what a great talk so far. Thank you to Lois, who explained the system, and Pretty. I'm here for 35 years of experience of supporting families with the 11 plus transfer. My background is I'm a teacher, born and bred. I have been working in the industry for over 35 years. I was a teacher at an outstanding school for many, many years. I was a Senko. I was a senior member of staff. I was a teacher governor. I'm also an author, and I have written lots of resources for children and also for parents. The book I have published for parents is To Navigate the 11 Plus Journey. I was the founder of JK Educate. So after leaving schools, I decided to set up my own consultancy with the pure passion to support parents through this very, very stressful and very challenging period. I think it's really important to get the knowledge of how best to support your child, how best to choose the right school for your child. And Pretty has given you some very, very good tips, but ultimately it boils down to one thing. You want your child to go to a school where they're going to be happy and where they're going to reach their potential. Lois has spoken to you about the different types of schools and doing research beforehand and looking to see which one is going to be right for your child. But ultimately, there really isn't that much choice. It's either state, and if it's state, then 9 times out of 10, it will come down to where you live. If you're going for the grammar schools, it will be passing the exam, and it will be quite brutal because they are very, very competitive. So your child can't just be bright. Your child really does need to be top 5%. And if you're going for the private sector, then there's a range of academic abilities out there. And as Pretty says, don't fall into the mistake of choosing one that you think is going to be right for you. Focus on what you think is going to be right for your child. So do as much background as possible and be aware that the best school, private school, isn't necessarily the most academic. If I had a pound for any time someone said to me, okay, so the best private school out there is Westminster or St Paul's or North London Collegiate School. They are the most academic schools, and they're great schools, but only for children who are the most academic students. There are plenty of outstanding secondary private schools, which are suitable for children who are academically average and above. So it's really a question of finding the right school to fit your child. So my background after setting up my consultancy was to advise parents on all aspects of education. We also built up our own online and home tutoring service. We joined Duke's Education, and I now work at Duke's Plus as partnership director there. And our tutoring branch, which is Duke's Plus, has over 500 tutors, and we tutor children from reception all the way to university. But the most important thing is not to tutor for the sake of it. The most important thing is to tutor for purpose and where it's needed, because it's really important for children to be children and to enjoy. So my job today is to talk about 11 plus exam preparation. And a lot of what I'm going to say is not rocket science, and it makes a lot of common sense, but it's sometimes nice just to be reminded by an expert. Now, once you have decided what school you want to sit your child for, what you want to do is to make sure that they are as prepared as possible. And the best way of starting that is to start early. And I'm often asked, when is the best time to start? Well, we always say at least a year before the actual exams. And as Lois may have said, the grammar school exams are different to the private school exams. The grammar school exams tend to happen earlier. So they tend to happen right at the beginning of year 6, usually in the September, whereas the private school exams can start from the October, but can also go right through till the January of year 6. So if you're going for the grammar schools, I would strongly recommend you start the 11 plus journey and the preparation, usually around the January of year 4 or the January of year 4 or the Easter term of year 4, because that gives you a whole year to prepare before you go in running in the September. If you're just going for the private schools, it is okay to wait till the September of year 5. I'm often asked, well, what if you don't do it then? Can you start earlier? Can you start later? And the answer is absolutely. But you don't want the child to feel overwhelmed, and you also don't want them to start earlier than they need to. So it's a case of looking and assessing what the child needs. If the child is reaching their potential and is happy, then they don't need to start before a year. If you wanted, because we don't want them to rise and peak too quickly and get bored. But equally, if they come to you, and I have had many students come to me at the end of year 5 and they want to start this journey, that's absolutely fine as well. But then you tailor the journey and the preparation to meet that child's needs. So you find out exactly what schools they're going for, what they still have to learn, and you create that program around that. So it might just be that if they come a little bit later, they need to have 2 lessons a week rather than 1 lesson a week. With regard to understanding the exam format, that's terribly important. You really do need to ensure that you and your child familiarize themselves with the type of questions. But this is where I have a great big but for you. And the but is it's always, always changing. Don't think that just because a particular school tested in a certain way last year that they're going to be doing it exactly the same this year. They don't. They will always be changing it. Schools do it differently from year to year. On the whole, schools choose their own format, and it's between they test English reading, they test English writing, they test maths, they test verbal reasoning, they test non-verbal reasoning. Some schools will test all of those disciplines, some will just do a few, and some will do others. I have always prepared the children that I've supported for everything, because you don't want any last minute surprises. But it will be a range of verbal, non-verbal, reading, writing, and maths. Then you have to, when it comes to thinking about the exam format, understand, well, how will the exam actually be? Because it could be a GL assessment where it's multiple choice and you have to fill in a box. It could be CEM Select Online. Some schools use these indeed as screeners, because for some schools they have a screening round, and only if you pass that first test are you invited back for a second round to do reading, writing, and maths. They could have a test whereby it's ISEB, ISEB, or it could be, and this is quite common now, that schools, and particularly within consortiums, have the exams written by Quest. Now, Quest is affiliated with Atom Learning, and it's an online test. So again, if you're preparing your child for a range of schools, I think it's always really important to prepare them for all the different types out there: online, pen and paper, CEM, GL assessment, so that whatever they get hit by, they're ready for. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you about is using professional resources. Now, it's really important to acknowledge that the curriculum that comes up for the 11 plus is not taught at state schools. Now, that doesn't mean that state schools are not as good as private schools when it comes to primary level. You can have outstanding state schools, but they quite simply teach the national curriculum. They don't teach verbal reasoning. They don't teach non-verbal reasoning. And the maths and the reading and the writing, the level that is tested at 11 plus is not taught at primary school. And I know that because I taught at primary school. I taught year 6, and the things that come up like algebra dip into secondary level. So particularly if your child is at a state primary school, they do need to prepare well, not to make them into something they're not to get them into a school that they're going to sink and be unhappy with, but just to give them an even playing field, to allow them to have covered the curriculum that other children who are equally as intelligent or even less intelligent, but they will have had access to. So absolutely, you can prepare children yourself as a parent, but most like to recruit tutors who will give them a really good idea of what needs to be covered. There's also a lot of online tools out there. Some of them are really good. Some of them are not so good. So it's a case of experiencing which ones you think are going to work best for your children, and indeed liaising with expert tutors who have a very, very strong track record to go through with you what are going to be the best resources. From my experience, if I had a child sitting tomorrow, I would be looking to subscribe to Atom Learning, because that's a giant on the stage at the moment in terms of preparation. Exam Prep Plus is a very good platform. GL Practice Papers and Pretest Plus are always very suitable practice papers. It's important to practice regularly, and every tutor and every educational consultant will say you don't want to overwhelm a child, you need to build up, but there's a lot to cover. So the first thing that we say when a child is in year 5 is now's the time to stop some of the extracurriculum clubs. They're very, very important for the child, for their hobbies, for their emotional well-being. But year 5 is when you ramp up on the 11 plus prep. So we tend to say start easing off on the other curriculum and extracurriculum activities until they sit their exams in year 6 and then go straight back to them. And that way you will be providing gaps to allow the children to do their homework. And usually we start with filling in the curriculum gaps. And often you're looking at 1 to 2 hours homework a week. As you move into the Easter of year 5, you're looking at doing past exam papers. Now, past exam papers, you'll be looking at setting a maths paper, an English paper, a verbal reasoning, and a non-verbal reasoning. You'll also be looking at focusing on the areas that the children find more difficult, revising those areas and setting specific extra work in those areas. So you could be looking at around up to 6 hours of revision and work and homework a week in between your sessions. So that's why we need to make sure that we balance it well and don't have too much so it becomes too overwhelming for the students. So practicing regularly is very important, and that is a good time to ease off on other challenges that the children will be having. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was setting realistic expectations. I'd like to re-emphasize, and this comes from years of experience as an educational consultant, but also coming to you with my mummy hat on. Being a parent is the hardest job of all. And I urge you to choose a school where your child is going to be happy and where your child is going to reach their full potential. If you have an incredibly academic child that likes being a big fish in a small pond and is resilient, then absolutely go for a very highly academic school. But if you've got a child who needs a little bit more nurturing, and even if they're very bright, you might want to choose a child that has a more sturdy, holistic and pastoral support at the school. So it's very important, as Pretty had said, do your homework on the schools. But at the end of the day, if you are going for 11 plus exam preparation, you want to apply to a school where your child has a really good chance of getting in. And in order to find that, it's very important to set realistic expectations. And the way that you can do that is find out before you even start this journey what's going to be the right school for your child. So I would always urge parents to have an assessment. And in an assessment, it's important to decide what level the child is currently working at compared to their cohort, but also what is their potential. Because if they've got the potential to go to a very academic school, then with good tutoring, with good preparation, they will get there. But if their academic potential is average, that's absolutely fine. But then the preparation should be towards an academically average senior school. So it's very important to know which schools you're going to apply for and that they are realistic and that the outcome is very achievable. And that's so important for the child's self-esteem as well. And I have over the years had many, many parents who have said they're very aware of their child's ability and they want to go for the highly selective schools, and quite simply, they're not right for that child. And if you do over tutor a child in order to get them in, and you sit them tests every day and you get them up very early, it is actually possible to get them into a certain school because they are overachieving for themselves. But once they're there, you're going to need to keep that pressure going every day in order for them to keep up, because otherwise they're going to sink. And that's not a happy place for a child. So again, I urge you, set realistic expectations. And if you don't know, then go and get them assessed. Get an idea of where they are going to be happy. The next thing I want to talk about is focusing on weaker areas. That's self-explanatory. It's terribly important to identify areas where your child needs improvement. And with that, it's practice, practice, practice. And whether it's in the areas of non-verbal reasoning, with me, it was always the nets. Even to this day, and I'm 56 years old, I still struggle with the nets. But it can be any areas, and it's just teaching them the confidence to understand where their areas of difficulties are and to revise. And if they don't understand it one way, then it's really important to try and deliver it in another way, because all of our brains are different. And a good teacher will know how best your child learns, whether they're a kinesthetic learner, whether they're a visual learner, whether they're an auditory learner. The next thing I would suggest is give plenty of mock exam practice, because even the brightest of children can fail an exam by simply just misreading a question. And that can be the difference between pass and fail. So we want to give the children as much practice as possible. What you can do is start doing that first of all at home, and you can do it without it being timed. And then as they get more confident, you start doing timed, because timed can put an awful lot of pressure. And there are ways of teaching the children how to do timed exams. There's strategy. There's an awful lot of strategy when it comes to mock exams, making sure that you plan your writing, even though it doesn't tell you to plan it. Make sure that when you do the comprehension, you read it, then read the questions, then read it again before you actually start answering a question. So giving plenty of mock exam experience is really important, because it desensitizes the children and it allows them to grow in confidence. The final thing I wanted to talk to you about is encouraging reading. Now, as it says on the slide, we want to improve the vocabulary and comprehension skills through regular reading. But we need to be very specific with regard to the type of reading. We're not going to be saying read all of Jacqueline Wilson's catalogue. It's not a case of know all of the Wimpy Kids books. It really is a case of encouraging your children to read a range of authors and a range of genres. Because ultimately, when it comes to the 11 plus, what they are looking for is, can they comprehend? They're looking to see a child's ability to use contextual clues and also their ability to infer. And usually they will go out of their way to provide a text that no child will have seen before. And often it can be a very traditional text. It could be it's very common for it to be something that is not familiar to the child. So what you have to do is encourage them to make inference and deduction in all areas of their reading. And you also need to make sure that their vocabulary is constantly being expanded. The final thing I would say with regard to reading and comprehension is that the actual exams can do it differently. So strategy, again, is important. Some examinations have online comprehension, so you have to keep scrolling up and down to see the text, whereas others, the more traditional paper and pen is, and that tends to be done more at school, is a different strategy. So again, the best preparation that you can do for the 11 plus is to encourage your child to read lots of different types of authors, lots of different genres, including fiction and non-fiction, instructions, recipes, all different things. The idea with preparation isn't to go, well, this is what came up last year, so this is what I'm going to prepare them for this year. You need to look at anything could happen, and that's okay, because my child is ready. And that is the end of my wisdom.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. It's a very, very informative information you shared with all our parents, and these are the common questions as well. I would ask all the parents now, they can start dropping their questions on our Zoom chat and we will start answering it. So I think we have got few questions here now. So the question coming from Isara, how competitive is it to prepare for Highgate School? What are good resources to use? So yes, we can start taking up the questions. Before that, I just would like to say thank you to Katie and Lois for this wonderful session. And we are having here SUG 30% discount code. You can use it to both of my companies, Pi Academy and SchoolUniGuide. This coupon code is valid for 24 hours. And now I will back to my question. The question is about the Highgate School. So let's have a look at the Highgate School. So the question is how competitive is to prepare for Highgate School. Highgate School is the top independent school. So obviously it is quite difficult to get into that school. And Katie has already given you all kind of guidance, for preparing for the top schools. You can browse all the information about the Highgate School on our website. And I can also walk you through. We have brilliant resources on the Pi Academy website as well. I will open that website for you. The beauty of the Pi Academy website, because we are having more than 30,000 questions solved on the website. When it comes to 11 plus papers, we have all the past papers, all the practice papers on our website. You can use SUG 30 coupon code to get 30% off on all the resources on the Pi Academy. And the good resources, because the question is related with the good resources, all the excellent resources are already available on our website, including the past papers and topic-wise segregated questions. So you can have a look at 11 plus topic-wise question. I will open it for you here. So here we have more than 72 maths 11 plus topics, and all these questions in the topic wise section, they are coming from all the past papers. So these are not made up questions by Pi Academy, but these are all the past paper questions coming from proper independent school past papers. And likewise, we do have 11 plus maths, English, VR, and we are honestly speaking, there is no limit on the resources which we have it on the Pi Academy. Moving on to the next question now. The question is coming from Robert. Are group tuition classes better than one-to-one tutoring? So, well, it's your personal choice. Of course, if you are going for one-to-one tutoring, then it's pretty expensive. If you are looking for the group classes, obviously it's these are more affordable. So it's up to you which one you want to go with. Well, there are pros and cons for both. I will show you both of the options which are available on our Pi Academy website. If you go to 11 plus courses, we are having Sunday weekend classes where we are having all sort of group classes here. You can browse through all these classes from this web page. We will send the link to you on the Zoom chat. Are only mock conducted for kids? Are only mock conducted for kids? Yes. I mean, I am not getting this question quite right. But yes, the mock exams are for 11 plus. As Katie has already said, that mock exams are really important. They are meant for 11 plus students. So our team is giving you all the links. I will move on to the next question. The question is coming from Neela. Great insights. Thank you. My child is preparing for 11 plus exam. She will apply for Henrietta Barnett. I'm wondering where can I find the papers? I think I just walk you through. And Katie has also made a reference of Atom Learning, so you can check on their website as well. Then the next question is what is Hara? What is a straight line distance calculation for catchment area? I will show you a very interesting blog article which is on our website. If you go to SchoolUniGuide, I'm switching between both of my websites, Pi Academy and SchoolUniGuide. So please do not get confused because Pi Academy is offering all the tutoring, classes, exam paper, past papers, and SchoolUniGuide offers a exclusive guidance. So catchment area topic, I will walk you through on the SchoolUniGuide website. Under the blog articles, we have around 300 blog articles, and we have answered more or less all the questions we get it from our webinars from the parents in form of a blog article. We will send you the link here. You can read through this entire blog article, and there we have already answered what is a straight line distance calculator. Due to the limited time, I have a lot of questions here on the chat, so I need to move on. Uh, Gabriela is saying, fantastic website. I'm glad that you like it. This cleared many doubts. Could you please comment on the catchment area? I want to prepare my child for St. Paul's Girls' School. Does it have a catchment area? It is a highly competitive school, and I'm clueless about which papers to use. So I suppose St. Paul's School is an independent school, and I don't think independent school has a catchment area, but I will double check again and I will reply back to you after confirmation. Okay, Nikki is asking, my son likes to read, but he is still struggling with creative writing question. He does not know how to put these ideas in words. How can he improve? Maybe Katie is the right person to answer this question. Katie, would you like to take this
Yes,
question?
happily. Can you repeat the question again, please, Preeti?
Sure, sure. So the question is from Nikki. My son likes to read, but he is still struggling with creative writing question. He does not know how to put this ideas in words. How can he improve it?
So what I would say is I would liaise with the class teacher first and foremost and see if English is more of a weaker subject than the maths. Is this just naturally an area that he struggles with? Or is it that he has the potential to be equally good at both and there's just a misalignment here? So we need to understand basically why he is struggling, putting what he has in his head on paper. It could just be that he needs a little bit of extra one-to-one support. It could be that it needs to be scaffolded better. Often with people who, or children who find it difficult to kind of start writing, if you can do it on topics that they particularly enjoy, for example, you know, if they love football, you get them to write something about a football team or a football player, it helps them actually start with it. Or it's important with the reading, if he likes to read in all different areas. Maybe get him a Kindle, maybe get him to listen to audiobooks as well, get him to do writing that is not just fiction but non-fiction as well. It's again desensitizing, but what you have to do is have realistic expectations. It may just be that they naturally find it harder to write things down, and that's quite common because with most English they're stronger at reading than they are at writing. So it's just a question of scaffolding them, giving them strategies and giving them time to grow. It is an area that boys do traditionally find more challenging than girls at this age.
Correct. Yes, yes, I agree, Katie. And Katie, you also run a lot of assessments, right, for assessing the 11 plus students. So maybe you can take some short assessment on the creative writing from her.
I mean, that's the most important thing. I work at Duke's Education, which has JK Educate. And if anybody ever did want to reach out, they're more than welcome. My focus is you want your child to reach their full potential. But what you can't do is put stress on them to become something that they're not, or to put stress on the school, on the child, or indeed the tutor to wave a magic wand to become something that they're not. I like to empower parents to know exactly their children's strengths and weaknesses, how they compare against others nationally, not others in their class, because you could be top of your class in your school and go to another school and you could just be in the middle. You need to know where they are doing nationally and whether they're reaching their potential. And then you do everything you can to support them if they're not. But if they are reaching their potential and they're happy, then have realistic expectations and let them thrive.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. I will take the next question now. Uh, Amon Siva, can you share the recording to the parent that attended? Want to listen with my child? Sure, we will. After every webinar, we do share our recordings, and we do have a YouTube channel where we have already live streamed this entire session. Uh, Akanksha, if you can send them the YouTube channel link, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel where we are always hosting very beautiful podcast. We also host a lot of webinars like this. So all the parents, they can subscribe to our YouTube channel. They can also follow us on Instagram. We are sending you all our social media links, and we are definitely looking forward all type of questions. If you are having any, we are more than happy to address them through the short videos or through the webinars. And we always have a brilliant guest speakers in our webinars. You can definitely join our future webinars as well. There is a question from MDV. Katie mentioned that you can get your child assessed for the type of school they fit into. Where can you do that? How long does it take? So, Katie, would you send us the message where we can share it with the parents?
Absolutely. I do the assessments myself. We can do it online or we can do it face to face. And if any of anybody attending the webinar today would be interested, then I can absolutely, because you have attended this webinar, offer you a 10% discount. But what I would suggest is to reach out to me directly, and I'm sure that Pretty will pass on my details. But what you want is knowledge, because with knowledge, you make the right choice for your child.
Great. Thank you so much, Katie. So yes, we will share those details with you post the webinar. There is a question from Michael. Hi, thank you so much for the great webinar. I have a question about appeal. Can I appeal if my child has been rejected a place because I'm saying I'm staying outside my catchment area? Yes, absolutely, you can appeal, and there is a government link by which you can make your appeal. We do provide a lot of consultancy in appealing process, and we will share the entire information through the email post the webinar. So our support team, SchoolUniGuide support team, please take a note of this, and we will be sharing the information with Michael. Gabriela, amazing. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, thank you so much. Tajantha, my child is going to Royal Grammar School and I'm not sure of which papers to do. It is one of the high level school in the Northeast. Her exams is only in 2 weeks. So I will show you what are the best papers which you can refer to. I will go to my website, Pi Academy. As I said, Pi Academy is purely a exam resources providing website. You can check whichever papers you want, but at this last minute of time, I would definitely suggest you to try out our 11 plus maths and English papers. And there is a paper planner where we have already mentioned the high difficulty level of papers. I would suggest you to practice them. We will send you a detailed email about these offerings as well post webinar. Okay, Bhavika is asking, can I apply for a school outside the catchment area of the school? Very interesting question. And yes, we have addressed this question onto our blog article. So you can definitely have a look. I will send you all our blog article links in the email, which you can read through with your own pace. Shamathi, could you please add details of the coach services running for each grammar school? Oh, wow, that is very interesting feedback, definitely. And that's why I said, please send all your feedback. We are here on the SchoolUniGuide. Our entire aim is to provide a highly consolidated information, which is extremely handy to all our parents, and they can make a very good decision about choosing the right school for their child. So definitely we will add this particular thing. And in fact, that tells me, as I showed you on our map, Urvashi, if you can open the map, and that is our idea actually. It's a very interesting point. You raised it here, Shamitha. On this map experience, again, this is a beta version. All our technology team is working on it, and we are trying to bring a lot of AI features into our map. As you are searching for any particular school, we have already included the nearby amenities as the buses, undergrounds, all the transport facilities. Along with that, we can also include the coach services for each grammar school as a map experience. Very great idea. We will definitely work on it. Anand is asking a question. Please, can you advise on how to fill in the CAF, especially if it is a combination of grammar and state uh, composition comps? Okay, yeah, sure, CAP, common application form. We helped many parents earlier as well. Maybe we can host one more webinar just on how to fill in the CAP, because that is a very frequently asked question which never strike to me to put in as our webinar topic. Definitely, we will do that. Okay, great. I think that's all. We have got all the questions answered. I would like to say a big thank you to everyone. We have 110 attendees in this webinar, which is a great number. You can all use our SUG30 coupon code on Pi Academy website as well as on the SchoolUniGuide. And we will send you a very detailed information about our speakers, about Katie, how she can conduct the assessment, etc. And keep coming to our webinars and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Insta. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you, Katie. Thanks, Lois.